It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Boom, it's Rusty. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Public Access Podcast, the podcast here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN. I am your host, Rusty Diamond. And you can check out other good shows, great shows on the network, such as When the Gloves Come Off, the Thinking Man's Pro Wrestling Podcast. This is It with Lizzie and Saved by the Ben. And the show is brought to you by Stone Reeds Productions, Fred Ben Savage as Fuck, Hardcore Entertainment, Hypnosis is Great, and Sock'emUp.org. Now with the website back up. Thank you guys for being here. It's Monday. I have 3 podcasts today. So yeah, I mean, this is a good day. So let's get into it. Let's get right on. I'm going to bring on my first guest today. Right here, right now, right here, right now, we have Melissa Amos. How you doing, Melissa?
I'm great. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm enjoying the day so far. I woke up at 6 this morning. That was pretty late. I feel like I was sleeping in.
That sounds early to me.
Yeah. Oh, you're not an early person.
No.
When are you usually up?
Well, about 7:30, but I think if you just let me sleep, I'd be more like a 9 o'clock. I think that would be my happy time.
Do you usually stay up then at night pretty late, or what?
I'd like to say I'll go to bed at like 10, but I don't. It's like 11:30 maybe.
Well, are you still working then, or are you just winding down or doing something else?
Yeah, well, I'm often take clients because I work globally and I'm in the UK, and a lot of my clients are in the States. I tend to do evening sessions, sort of 7, 8, 9, which finish sort of 9, 10. I try not to work after 10 because I don't think it's good for you.
Yeah. It's the good thing about there being things like Zoom and stuff like that. It's really opened up to a whole new audience and a whole new clients, but at the same time it's pretty interesting trying to navigate through time zones and time changes. And the hardest one for me right now is Australia, New Zealand. Those ones I usually have to do something, but so I'm 5 hours behind you. But if I'm working even with someone that's like in California or something, that's 3 hours behind. And I don't know. Ideally, I would like to have this show at 7, 8 in the morning or something like that. But then that's 4 a.m. on the West Coast, and then that's 9 a.m. there where you are. But yeah, just trying to coordinate everything with everyone is just not as easy as it could be, but it's also it's a all right trade-off for me, because getting to work with people this easily all over the world is something that we couldn't imagine 5 years ago.
Right. Yeah, it's I'm organizing or I've been asked to speak on a summit in Australia, and just trying to work out like what day have I booked this for, because it's like tomorrow. Well, it's not tomorrow, but it's the next day
Tomorrow,
there.
but today.
Yeah. So it's all very confusing.
So it's an online summit then in Australia time?
Yeah.
What's the summit for?
It's for spiritual entrepreneurs who are we're all just sharing our crafts and what we do, and some self-help theories. It's going to be awesome, I think. Some really good speakers.
Have you been doing more of those in the last? They seem to be more popping up recently. I've seen a lot more summits happening than, I guess. I don't know, because it seems like there's a lot more online ones that people just, I guess, realize that we don't need. Like, I think also you probably get paid more with them not having to pay for your transportation, lodging,
Right.
food, and all that stuff to just be able to. Because I mean, yeah, I assume a plane ticket from the UK to Australia is probably a pretty penny, and a lot of time from you spending in
Yeah.
the airport and an airplane, and yeah, just to be able to just.
Right. It's a day's flight from here. So,
Okay, yeah. And so yeah, you're losing 2 days
right.
for something that all you need to do is get half dressed and stand in front of a camera, and you're good to
Exactly. As long
go.
as the top half is good, then the
Yeah.
rest of it's covered.
Yeah, right. That was something. Yeah, I totally figured that one out a few years ago.
I
And I was
won't
like,
ask.
yeah, well, yeah, I wasn't walking around too well, so I just like be able to sit in my bed and like, okay, well, this works out. Just sit in a chair, and didn't really matter what was. Just get enough, so that I look okay, and make sure there's no mirrors or something behind me. Where, there's those pictures always crack me up on the online, where I see those where someone's taking a picture of something that they make it seem to be one thing, but then you see the mirror and there's something totally different going on. But
Brilliant.
as long as you got those bases covered, then and you're in good shape. And I mean, so was the with your practice then was doing speaking engagements, was that a natural progression, or was that something that was kind of foreign to you, as far as trying to navigate that? And
Yeah, it was something that people just kept asking me, and I was like, people keep asking me, maybe I should actually do this. I mean, I started off so I work with spiritual people, or people who are on the spiritual path, to help them understand who they are, right? And where they're going, and their purpose and their meaning, and to use all these amazing tools and energies of the universe to like help them unlock who they are. So it started off, and I'd work one-to-one. I was doing readings and Reiki and all of that stuff, and I got asked to hold a class to cover for somebody. That's where it all started. So I covered a class in person. I used to work all in person locally, and everyone was like, oh, I really enjoyed that. And I was like, okay. And that kind of progressed to teaching classes, and I was teaching Reiki and some other things. And then in 2020, when we could no longer teach in person, I just had this thing. I was like, right, now what are we going to do? And I just heard this guidance, and it went, just go online. And I was like, how do I go online? What do I do? Like, what? And figured out this Zoom thing that we now all know, and just put some classes on. And that turned into something very regular. They were once or twice a week. I was running classes. And at the same time, I started you could call it a radio show, but it was just on my Facebook page. I'd come on every week and talk about different spiritual concepts. And that got me invited onto podcasts and summits and guest experts and all of that. So it's kind of just progressed from somewhere.
And so with the podcast live ones, were those, I mean, do they have interaction going on with those, or during it, were people commenting in the middle of it, or anything of that nature?
Yeah, well, with the show that I was doing on my page, it was very interactive, which was a great lesson for me, because I would just see all these comments like coming up. I'm like, right, just try and keep, and the Facebook comments disappear after a little while, but just trying to keep focused, but also engaging and answering the questions and doing all of that was actually a really good training for me. And then the podcasts have been different. They're often interview style, which are cool, which I enjoy. It's my favorite kind, where we're kind of bouncing off each other. But sometimes they're like, here we go, Melissa, talk for an hour. And I'm like, okay. See what happens.
And I mean, yeah, so totally different game when you have a bunch of people commenting, and it's all open for a lot of group participation and all that. And it's interesting. There was a few things like I've done. I haven't done the Facebook. Maybe I do like one or two, or the Instagram lives or one of those. But there was I got into doing the online streaming and stuff. Like what is that? I don't know. They're like I don't know what you call that. There was one that was based out of the Philippines and one that was based out of Taiwan. So it was interesting. It wasn't anything I ever really, but then again, it was that weird time change. So I was doing stuff at like 4 or 5 in the morning, trying to do this. But then, you got people coming in the room wanting to talk, and trying to be able to, keep going forward, but interacting as much as I can to not just alienate them, but where this is able to get to focus in and just do like sort of an interview then. And well, whatever your take on an interview is, everyone has a bit of a different take. And so then you're doing a podcast now, is that, or you're not, or that was just
no, I guest on people's.
Okay.
I guest quite a bit. Yeah.
Oh, so okay. So then that's also kind of all over the world, kind of a thing. It's like, okay, well, I mean, you get known to these new audiences pretty easily, and it's like, okay, well, here I am on the other side of the world, and I don't have to.
It's pretty awesome. I've met some long-term clients through podcasts a bit, mainly through going into people's groups or a host of a community coming and inviting me on their page, or it's running little masterclasses or little mini masterminds with others. And it's amazing just sharing audiences and sharing wisdom and doing collaborations. And I've seen a real difference in how people are working, like especially women, and how we're working, and how it's like, well, let's all come together and share our resources rather than, well, these are mine and these are yours and let's battle it out kind of thing.
Right. So, I mean, so what's, so the masterclass, I'm seeing masterclass around a lot. What kind of is, I still haven't really figured out what, I mean, it might mean different stuff, different people, but what generally is masterclass here?
So I will often be invited to run a hour, 90-minute workshop, if you like, on different subjects. So it might be on opening your intuition or living a soul-led life, or one of the things I work with is the Akashic Records, which is your soul's library. So I'm running a masterclass, or I'm running a short 90-minute, 1 hour information. I try to make it quite practical so that you come away with something that you can use or work with or understand and you can take into your life, because otherwise I'm just talking for an hour and what's the point? So
right.
And it's really nice to be able to share. It's only my point of view, but it's a view that's helped people, so it's nice to be able to share that out.
And I mean, so then when you were doing your before, when you were working before 2020, I mean, when it was all in person, did you have an office, or were you going to other places, people's houses, or you have a meetup spot, or what was kind of the work for that?
So I used to sit in circle, which is where we gather and practice, intuitive skills, psychic skills, and all of that. And that was from a shop that was local called Wings of Light. And they had a massage room, and they would run a few little things. And actually it's mainly there where I'd run my meditation groups and psychic circles and classes. And then I'd be invited to some other places, or if I was doing something more specialist, I'd just hire a venue and bring people in from there. And at one point I was running, so in my garden we've got a kind of covered area, and I would run over the summer, I'd run a weekly psychic circle from my garden, which was really cool. But now I've got a studio here in the garden.
Okay. So you have people come there to your garden?
I would say I do 95% of my stuff online.
Okay.
But that
Just
5%.
special people.
Special people can come here, mainly local people. Yeah. It's I really enjoy it online, actually. I thought that it would be difficult, especially doing what I do, which is quite energetic and intuitive, and I do like healing and counseling sessions, and sometimes there's that resistance of, well, how can we do this if we're not sitting in front of each other? But
right,
I've learned energy doesn't care. Energy is just energy, and it's just going to do its thing, and it doesn't matter. So I love doing it over Zoom. Like you say, there's a different level of preparation when you're doing it online.
Right. And I mean, they also get to be in the most comfortable place that they can imagine. They're not having to go drive through traffic to go park somewhere and go into a building that they don't know, that they're already kind of clenched up with the guard up. They're in their element already. They can't, they pick where they want to go. They can go, they can be in their garden hanging out. They could be, whatever.
Be in their pajamas.
And their pajamas, yeah, exactly. And if someone, when I have clients that are, wherever, I'm happy. I'm like, yeah, you go wherever you're going to be most comfortable. You don't have to, you don't have to leave. You're set right here. This can be the best spot. So, yeah, it's pretty nice. I became a big fan of it, and I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of out of necessity, but yeah, like I was saying, energetic work doesn't really matter. You're just gonna do it. I had this one guy on recently. He has this thing. It's called scalar light. You know that about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, this guy. So he could. First off, it's like the energy source of it and could light up these walls, but he would like you could take someone's picture, and then, I think the example he gave me was like a picture of the cold sore virus, and be able to like put both together, and then whatever, it would go and find it around the world and, break it down, and it was a wild thing to like just think about. But then once you think about it with everything else, I mean, it makes sense how it all works. And yeah, I mean,
it blows your mind. I think and I think, the fact that so many of us were forced to go online and to start to do these things online, and like one of the original things that I practiced or was trained in was Reiki, and that's very much a hands-on practice. And we learn in Reiki that we can send Reiki, and I always like, yeah, but wouldn't you want to be there, and isn't it nicer that you're lying there and somebody's kind of like touching you or just by you? And then obviously we had 2 or 3 years where it just wasn't possible. And and also teaching Reiki, it had to be done in person. The insurance companies were like, no, you can't do it online and all of this stuff. And we started to teach online, and people were having even more profound experiences, I think, because they were in the comfort of their own home and they could be in their own surroundings, and they could, like really let themselves drop into the energetic and feel the difference, rather than necessarily being in a community with people that they might not know. But also I think there's something, like, it does something to your brain when you're like, hold on a minute, this person's not even touching me, and she's just saying some words, and how am I feeling this or having this experience? And we are, I've taught Reiki in Australia. We're like thousands and thousands and thousands of miles away, and they're still having as profound, if not more, experience than here if they were opposite me.
Yeah, and I mean, that should tell anyone anything about how powerful it is. Yeah, that you don't have to be anywhere. I mean, just the fact, I mean, and then if you ever got to go to a doctor or something, I mean, even that, I mean, now you can do most of that online, and it's great. I think it's just, there was so much, I don't know, I mean, there's so many positives that came from those 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm still surprised a lot of corporate work went back into offices and didn't shut down. That was the one thing that kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
I don't know why that happened. I thought that they were just gonna understand that, I mean, just how much better it is for so many people. I don't know if it's just old mentality, or maybe they had some lease they couldn't break.
There's lots of rabbit holes you can probably go down discussing that. For some companies, they continued, I think, going and letting people work from home in these shorter weeks, and that's amazing. And maybe that's what we needed to create the change that, is work-life balance. But a lot of people, I'm guessing it's the same way you are, but a lot of people I know stopped working, quit their jobs, started doing their own thing, started to realize there's more to life than going and spending from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. in another office, working for somebody else, making their dream come true, and then hoping that they've got enough money for a 2-week vacation. It was quite warped, really. And I think a lot of, not everybody, but it pushed some people into asking themselves the big questions, and that started to create change. And some companies weren't ready for that, and maybe that forced the people in that decision. Some companies merged and changed and went, okay, well, this is the new way, so let's embrace it. And I think they're the ones that are going to thrive in the future. And it's quite exciting, really.
Yeah. And I mean, it was great. Like, I got rid of my office like a year before, 3 years ago. Yeah, because I don't know, because I was working with people, or some people that didn't like leaving their house, that had some stuff with that. And so, and those people were, one of them was okay with it, but most of the rest of them were very like, how's this going to work over Zoom? Because Zoom in 2019 was a fairly odd thing. And then so I mean, it was, I don't know, I feel like I maybe lost some of the clients that way, that were not wanting to do stuff because I didn't have an office. But then as soon as that shutdown hit, it didn't matter anymore, and everyone became totally okay with Zoom. It's like, okay, Zoom's all right. And it was a game changer. And just being able to do everything online, have to worry about, I didn't have to, because I moved to Minnesota, and I thought that I'd be snowed in for 6 months out of the year or something, but they have very good snow plows and stuff. So I was like, I'm not going to get an office here. I'll just start doing online. I'm already working with some people online. Then it ended up having that shift before, just ended up luckily being what happened in the future.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of nice to, I don't know, I could never go back. I don't want to ever have an office. I had a shop then too afterwards, like a vintage shop. And then I was like, I don't want this. I'd rather just sell online. I don't want to be tied down to a store. And
yeah, well, that's it. It gives you so much more freedom, and you can move and pivot and change. And like, so here the kids are off, they break up next week for the summer, and I'm like, well, I can just take the whole of August off, well, as much as I can without my extra commitments. And that's great because I don't have any overheads apart from minimal, because it's all online. I don't have to think, oh God, well, who's going to cover me and who's going to do this. I can make sure, like I say, my commitments are covered, and I'm not taking on any new clients for August. I'm kind of pushing some things back, some of the bigger stuff, and yeah, I can just be free, and I'm probably only going to be working like 5 or 6 days over the next month, which is awesome.
What do you have some vacation plan or a staycation or something? Or?
Yeah, we're going to the seaside. It's a bright British thing. We're going to the seaside.
Okay.
For a week in a couple of weeks, and yeah, and then we're just going to be here with kids and just enjoy. It's really nice around here. We're just going to enjoy it and just chill, and like I'll end up doing a little bit of stuff here and there. And I've got my book coming out, which I think I'm underestimating quite how much I'm going to have to put into that in the week running up to it. But it's it's nice just to be able to be flexible and not feel like I've got to be out the house all day every day.
So is that done? The book, is that done now? Is it through a publisher, or is it self-published?
No. So this is my first book, and it's a memoir, right? So this is my life, and this is my like story, and all of the spiritual explorations that I've wondered and conjured up and decided, like all the stuff that I've ever contemplated in my life, through the lens of my life. So I really feel like it's mine. Like I feel like I need to I sound like a control freak, but I'm like, just need this to be mine just for a bit. So I'm self-publishing this time. I might put it out to some publishers after, but I just feel I need it to go out as it is, unedited. Yeah.
Somewhat.
I've edited it quite extensively, but I just think it just needs to be mine, in my words, without things. So there's some things in there which might be a little bit risky for some of the big publishers. So it's going to go out as it is, and I'll see where it moves to. But it's really exciting.
So is that like an Amazon kind of deal? And and so when you were writing it, was it did you outline it, or did you just write it flat out and then go, okay, cool?
I literally, I'll tell you how, do you know how it started? It started with a Facebook post. I wrote this Facebook post, and it was about, somebody had asked me, what was your biggest achievement? It got me thinking about all the things, because I think I'm a recovering achiever. Like all the things, like I love like a certificate. I love doing all stuff. I like to know everything about everything, right? So I'm writing this post like, well, I've achieved all of these achievements, but actually I don't think it's any of this. I actually think that my achievements are how, I've handled some things in life, and how I've got to this point where I am, and only lost the plot a little bit. And I was just like, I think this is the beginning of a book. And so I hired a book coach / editor, and I messaged her and I said, right, I think this is the beginning. She's like, yeah, amazing. And she said, just write, Melissa, just sit down and write. So I went, all right. So I opened up my my new MacBook. So I actually went out and bought a new MacBook. And I opened up, I was like, well, where's Word? They don't have Word, do they? Because it's some Apple. So I opened Pages, And I just went, and I started writing, and I just kept on writing, and I kept on writing and writing and writing. And it was about 8.5 weeks, 9 weeks. I'd done like 60,000 words. And I was like, well, this was easy, right? And then my editor said to me, I say it was easy. There were moments where it definitely wasn't, but it flowed out. It was like the words were all there and they just wanted to come out. And she said to me, this is where the hard work begins. So I was like, I've done this in less than 3 months. Like, how hard can it be now? So that was end of November, right? And now we're in July and it's still not out. Because then there was the first edit, the reread, and I edited it from there. And then I worked with a friend and we looked at maybe what was missing or where we needed some more information. So then there was a re-edit. In between all of that was all of the, I don't know, I'm just going to ignore it and hope it goes away kind of thing. And now I'm like, right, it needs to come out. So it's due out in, 3 weeks, I think it works out from now. And I've just sent it over to my editor to get it all formatted, and then I'm going to order my sample copy, which is like quite exciting to like have it in my hand. And then I'll give it a reread, make sure there's no grammatical errors or anything else that I pick up when it's, because when you're reading from the screen, it's different, isn't it? So I'm going to have it, and then hopefully, if there's nothing major, then it will launch. Just
pretty soon. Yeah.
Terrifying and exciting all at the same time.
So then, do you have someone doing marketing and promoting for it, or is that all you? Are you
I'm doing it all.
Okay. All right.
I promise you I'm not a control freak, but I'm doing it all. It is my first time, it's my first book. I'm actually, because it's self-published, I can't pre-sell it. So what I'm doing, it's genius, what I'm doing is I've invited people who want to read it to be launch partners, and I'm giving them a whole load of bonuses and some little sneaky peeks and some free views and things, and with the exchange of a promise that they'll buy it on the day that it launches.
Okay. That's a good way to do it then. So where are you with AI help with writing stuff, your ChatGPT and all that, and people coming out with books and all kinds of other stuff with ChatGPT and stuff?
I had my very first conversation with ChatGPT about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I was like, let's give this a go. And I was actually very impressed. And the thing is, I think with any art, however you interpret that, paintings, poetry, literature, even just posts on Facebook, for me, with what I do, it is about this soul to soul connection. And I think you can feel energy when you're reading somebody's things. You can get to know somebody well enough and you can almost hear them through their writing, right? Yeah. And I think with something like chat, I think it's super clever. And I actually have been using it and asking it some questions about my blurb. I've been asking it questions about promoting the book, and it's given me some really good inspiration. But copying and pasting it, I think, loses the potency of the message.
Yeah, because you can set up the thing to do your blog for you. If you wanted to, kind of a thing, even. And it's been odd. I talk about this a lot, and it's a lot of back and forth. Just I'm 40, and so it's like I'm both ways. I'm also like it because of how much streamlining it can do for me. But then I create so many different things that it's just, yeah, it hurts. Like, I don't know, like one of them is music, just watching, being able to type in something and have it give me a song, with all the specifications, how I want it to sound in 30 seconds of something that would take me,
Right.
On a good day, 6-7 hours.
Right. But then I think from the user, I think you can enjoy it, just like we have, we're similar ages, and there was certainly the electronic music, right? I think there can be enjoyment from it, but I think it's very different from having something which has got an energetic signature, because it doesn't. And I put in, when I was writing the blurb, I put in the things that I would like to include in there, and and like a lot of brief, and it was a lot of my own words. And then I was like, hit submit, and it came up with this like perfect blurb, and I was like, that is perfect. But it was, as I was reading it back in my own voice, I was like, yeah, but it's not soulful. It's just clever. It's like it's almost like mind talking to mind, head talking to head. It's not, there's no heart to heart connection. There's no feeling in it. And sometimes it's those quirks in grammar, or those little like nuances that we use that kind of hit the reader or the listener more than the cleverness of the way it puts words together.
Did you teach it to write in the style of you?
Well, I was actually considering, and I don't know why something's put me off doing it, but like throwing my whole book in there and going, right, here it is. Can you write me the blurb and write me an autobiography and all of this stuff? But I don't know, something just feels a little bit like I might read something I don't want to read.
Well, and also, if you can get it, so like the more you like give it a prompt, like you say, like, I want you to write it in the style, so it's in my voice. Please I like to say please and thank you a lot when I'm talking to AI, and please ask me questions that would allow you to be able to write in my voice. And so usually it'll say back to you like, okay, please write me a short story about something that happened to you, like a paragraph or two. And then it's able to get all those, grammatical nuances and all those things in there. And it becomes a lot more clear and sounds a lot more like you. And then it starts getting weird. And it's like this, there's it's just, toying between good and evil. And there has to be both. For anything to exist.
I think if you're like open with it, I was very much like, no, like I never did the what was it, the art one. I never put my photo in there. What's it called? The one. I didn't do that because I was like, oh, I don't know, it just feels a bit creepy. And I was saying I'm not going to do AI. But then I was sitting and thinking about it, and I think, well, what is AI? What's it doing it's learning from us, right? So it's learning from us humans what us humans are like. And I figured that if the only people that used things like ChatGPT are people who are, let's say, money hungry, or people who are like really tech savvy, or people who are, trying to play the system or all of this stuff, then that's going to be its impression, or what's feeding the system. So I'm like, well, if we can go, and there's people like you and me who say pleases and thank yous, and who are like, oh, you know what, like this is my impression in life, and I just think that everybody's got a beautiful light in them, and that we're all here for a purpose, and all the kind of the
Yeah.
heart stuff. If we feed that into it, just like our Facebook and our Instagram algorithms, that if we're watching all the videos of people like trauma dumping all over the thing, it's just going to give us more of that. And we're like, oh yeah, they love a bit of that. That's brilliant. Or if you just, like, my Instagram feed is just full of like motivational quotes and these kind of really cool like little landscape things, and I think, well, I'd rather the AI learn from somebody like me than others. So that was my motivation to go, okay, I'll give it a go. And now I've realized that it doesn't seem like it's too evil. I can absolutely understand that there's a temptation to go, right, there we go, write me this, and it goes, there we go, you have this. Like I could write a whole workshop outline and just go, there we go, that's my workshop outline. But that's not why people want me to run their workshop. Then they could go to anybody and run a workshop. They want it because I'm going to pick up on things that are intuitively based on what they need, rather than my head going, okay, well, I'm running this, so it needs to be this, this, and this. However, by asking that question, it might go, okay, well, have you considered this, which maybe I hadn't, which then might open up an exploration of something else. So I think that there's some really great potential with it, and I think that we just need to be very mindful with how we use it and feed it some good stuff.
Yeah, I think so too. And so one of the things was with the picture. So I needed a headshot for something, and the thought of me going to go get a professional headshot again somewhere did not sound appealing to me. Like, any headshot I have is me at doing something for like pro wrestling or something. It's like usually that's my headshot, and I'll use that as like a promo pic. But the last time I did, I went and got professional one done. I went there and I had I brought my chicken with me.
As you do.
Which went into the mall, and when I had a little like white fluffy chicken with me, and had it on my shoulder for the picture. But but I also don't have a lot of close-up pictures of me or selfies and stuff like that it feeds into the thing, because it's like, well, I need 10 selfies from me. Like, I don't have 10 selfies of me. But then I ended up doing that, and because since I had to find 10 pictures, so it was like me trying to take pictures. So most of them I look ridiculous, but there was like one that turned out pretty well, and I kept that one, and that's my headshot now. And that wasn't me, so it's kind of nice. That's a good one to get away from, where I felt okay. I'm like, okay, I can get away from there and not have to worry about any of that. But so that's kind of the new thing. And then so when your book is going to come out, where are people going to find it, and how are they going to find you? I guess probably they can find you. They can find your book, I assume.
The amount I'm talking about my book right now, they better be able to find my book if they find me. So I'm on all social media platforms at the Melissa Amos, and my book is called Memoirs of a Mystic in Training, and it will be available on Amazon. And who knows, maybe all good bookshops near you, I don't know, but it will be available on Amazon. And depending when you hear this, if it's before launch, you can come and join me as a launch partner, and that's via my website, which is melissa-amos.com/mystics. and that'll give you a bunch of freebies and get you on the list. And I just really appreciate the support with it.
Excellent. Well, hey, thank you so much for being on. Happy we got to talk about what we talked about. Who knew what we were going to get to, and we got to where we wanted to get to, which was here. So I'm good with that. So thank you so much for being on. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Thank you. Oh, there she goes. I just cut her off. Like, oh, cut her off. Yeah. I didn't mean to cut her off like that. I thought it would take a second for it to go, but I thought after I've done so many podcasts, I'd have it figured out, but nope. So thank you everyone for listening here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN. And yeah, check out other shows on the network. When the Gloves Come Off, the Thinking Man's Pro Wrestling Podcast. This is It with Lizzie and Saved by the Ben. And don't forget our sponsors. We have Stoner Eats Productions, Fred Ben Savage's Buck, Hardcore Entertainment, Hypnosis is Great, and Sock'emUp.org. And you guys like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff. Check it out on Rumble or YouTube if you want. If you're listening to this, or if you want to just listen to it, you can go anywhere you listen to podcasts: Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio. I don't care. Listen wherever. So, yes, thank you so much for being on. And if you want, you can leave messages. Leave messages for me. That'd be cool. How about you do that? You can leave a message, or you can not leave a message if you want. You can do this.
Messages? We don't leave no stinking messages.
But I do. So you can give them a call at 503-974-6420. You guys, thank you so much. Have a good day, great day. And that is the show, man. Boom.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Ernest! Ernest! Ernest!
Yes, Pee-wee.
You brought the snacks, right?